Catholics, Ruto must stop lying. This is a statement that was issued by the Catholic bishops yesterday. Now, the culture of lies is swiftly replacing the integrity and respect that Kenyans deserve. It seems that truth does not exist, say clerics. This is a story on page 5 of the People Daily, and maybe we just take a look at that and I tell you bring you up to speed what this actually is saying. Now, Catholic bishops yesterday censured President William Ruto's government for allegedly committing abductions and killings while perpetuating a culture of lies. They also accused the Ruto government of overtaxing Kenyans. Under the auspices of the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, the bishops accused Ruto's administration of allowing troubling political climate to prevail in the country, as it has failed to uphold integrity and resolve issues affecting Kenyans. The men of cloth claim that the political wrangles in the government have generated into unwarranted tensions and deepened divisions among Kenyans, as well as created an environment of mistrust among the citizens and within the government itself. Of course, this is the People Daily. Another story making headlines on this particular newspaper is 13 travelers die in accident on the Kisumu-Kakamega highway, and also we have celebrating 100 years of tea in Kenya. This is a story on page 20 and 21. Of course, we've been covering that here at K24. It is an event that was covered yesterday, and of course, will continue today all the way to the weekend. On Matters Friday, when football meets fashion, that is Friday Spice on page 17 of the People Daily. Under the top of this particular newspaper, we do have how Al-Shabaab silences journalists in Kenya, a story on page 8. Of course, you can grab this newspaper and get a read. Let's take a look at what's happening on the Standard. And top story on the Standard says, bishops take on Ruto over killings, graft. Now, Catholic bishops sharply criticized President William Ruto's government, citing unexplained killings, abductions, rampant corruption, and a growing culture of deceit. They want the president to address critical issues, including chaotic new healthcare program, university funding mess, and confusion in CBC rollout. This is a story on page 4. And of course, this particular statement has elicited a lot of reactions, with the government coming out to defend itself. We've seen the Minister of Education, the Ministry of Health, we've seen the DCI issuing a statement just based on the statement by the Catholic bishops. We'll be getting into that as we continue the program this particular morning. And of course, also another story making headlines here is parents under fire for aiding exam cheating, a story on page 5, with the PS for education, basic education, that is Belio Kipsang, blaming parents for the rising cases of exam cheating in the country, saying they are aiding that. Ngilu and Wambua clash, of course, on Matters County, is a story on page 20. And Coop Bank profit hits 19 billion. This is on the business page 22. And on Matter Sports, Harambee Stars a big AFCON test. This is a story on page 32 of the Standard. Another story making headlines on the Standard, and it's a national story, is proposed law to guide public participation. Now, bill by Attorney General proposes creation of Office of Registrar of Public Participation, sets out new rules, a story on page 13. And of course, this has elicited quite a debate, with people arguing that allowing this kind of law will lead to referendum on almost everything. Because what happens when we are 50-50 when it comes to disagreements and agreements? Which exactly do you take into consideration as far as these views are concerned? Page 3 of the Nation is of the Standard rather. Man denied job for being overqualified. Of course, he wanted the job of a chief, then he was a lawyer, then he didn't get to do that, but he's tried again his luck for the second time. Let's take a look at what's happening on the Daily Nation. Now, it's lies and more taxes. Bishop blast Ruto's government. Now, in a stinging statement yesterday, Catholic clergy took on the Kenya Kwanza administration over a myriad of grievances it blamed for Kenyans' continued suffering. A story on page 4 and 5. Now, why Kuppet now risks suffering some fate that brought NAT to its knees. A story on page at the back page of the Daily Nation. Of course, it's the Teachers Service Commission has withheld millions of shillings due to the union in the member fees since August, when the leaders called a national strike. Outpatient crisis hits public hospitals. Now, access to outpatient care at the major public hospitals has become more difficult than ever due to the rigid implementation of the Social Health Authority Act that discourages walk-in patients at level 4, 5 and 6 hospitals. Now the sick are bearing the brunt as lower level hospitals where they are to access outpatient care have a shortage of drugs, equipment and staff. Of course, the state of healthcare in the country, that's what they say, is in ICU. See on page 7. Right? That story on Matters Crime, how a strange lovers' last-minute reunion led to horror murder. A story on page 12 of the Daily Nation. Let's take a look at what you're waking up to here with my panel now. We start from this particular statement because I wanted it to form, a part of our conversation this particular morning. I want us to start with the blame that parents are actually, getting when it comes to exam malpractice in the country. We've been seeing a lot of cases that have been happening in the past few days, covering those particular stories. What role do parents play when it comes to ensuring integrity in matters examination? Let me start with you, Professor.
Yeah, being an academic and also having very, very long in the academia, I've gone back to academia, Brian.
Yeah.
So what is happening is that the blame game between the examination council, the teachers, and the parents has been a game of coalition. Coalition because it seems parents are the one who seem to be doing exams, not our children anymore. Do you know that when you are going for exam, when I was in school, my father used to tell me, go to school, whatever is gets up to you. He would tell me, take this money, you go play with it, go take it, go. They never bothered. They left it to be on you. I'm sure, Brian, maybe the panel is here aware that even the day you are doing exam, it didn't look like a big issue to your parents. But all of a sudden, nowadays, the day of exam, the parents are more concerned than actually the children doing exam. I don't know if you noticed that. There's a day I was taking my son to do entry exam in St. Mary's School. And I was more worried than him. I was like, please, have you revised? And for him, he's just playing. So this thing whereby parents became to play internal role in the examination process brings collision. So sometimes some parents even try to find how they can communicate with the NEC. How can they get leakages? I remember in some schools, they talk about school A, school B, and school C. What is school A? School A is whereby the students get exams, questions, and marking scheme some months before the exam because the head teacher is connected and the parents fight for some head teachers because they know those head teachers get connected to get the exam. School B is where they get the questions and the answer and they get the marking scheme maybe very last day. And school C, they only get the examination, they don't get the marking scheme. Then now D, for them, they get nothing. So there are A, B, C schools, and this is something which all people know. Even I was here with Sosion on this show. He acknowledges this is what is happening as a scam. So as Matiang'i tried to fight that scam and push back, you saw what happened. Grades were completely terrible. But you see, it seems the ghost is coming back. Remember, they say when the devil, one devil leaves you, when the devil come back, they come with a legion. They come with more of them. So this is a new wave which is coming. And I think that there should be a serious purge. Integrity of examination is important. But also, if you take that aside, let's not blame teachers and these people. When you go to parliament, how many people have fake degrees? The issue of fake degrees is a problem. And I was actually suggesting a solution. Brian, we have been talking about the financial wallet since we got M-Pesa, isn't it? But we should have more wallets. We should have education wallet where everything is digitally held here. So cheating will be eliminated if we automate those things to the highest level. Also, we should have a health wallet. That will also sort out the issue of SHA, where somebody wires money to somebody who never offered services, and the system is opaque, so no one knows. So opaqueness needs to be reduced with digitizing education to the highest level, where accountability and even auditing can be done. But if you allow these things to happen there, they're happening. The people don't want automation. In fact, why SHA system is failing is the same way if you introduce another system, education will fail because people don't want automation. I remember when I used to run a school, I don't want to mention the school, I own a school somewhere. When I automated the payment system, my bursar resigned. I didn't fire him. He just resigned because he knows that it cannot survive. So it is a problem that we are having in the country.
Okay, you mentioned something before I give IBM an opportunity to actually, contribute to this. That when you're taking your son to school to actually do exams, you're concerned, you are worried.
Yes.
Why were you worried as a parent? Because we want to get to the root of why these parents are actually aiding in exam cheating.
You see, you look like you're the one doing exam, because I was feeling that, I'm a professor. If my son fails to go to St. Mary's, you have a feeling like you failed. But you see, our parents didn't care. Our parents said, Wenda. In fact, the day you are going to do exam, they even sometimes have no idea. Yeah. But you see, nowadays, parents are so concerned that when I was a professor in Strathmore, some of them come even the week before to the exam and tell me, Professor, do you think my son is prepared? For us, it didn't matter. Our parents even are concerned when you're doing interview for a job, they come and bring you to the parking. They are waiting at the parking, do the interview. For our generation, did your father ever take you even for an interview? You are in Nairobi, you just call home, nimepata kazi. Yeah. But you see, now the parent needs to be less involved and allow the students to be more on the front line so that they have ownership. Because some of them, we are not getting a job because of my parents. I'm not succeeding in education because of my parents. I even saw another child blaming the father by saying that, Daddy, you're telling me I should get an A like my neighbor. But for you, I checked your records, you had a D. Imagine a son telling a parent, telling his father like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me start. IBM. Yes. Why are parents aiding in exam malpractice in the country? It's been we report every day these particular stories.
Yeah. So maybe to answer your question first, my dad, may he rest in peace, but he didn't even know exactly even how he can guide me to write a CV. So it was a duty to pass the exams, do all those things, and look for a job. But I think there is a problem. I've been a dean of students for 3 years somewhere. Yes. And I know because I was in charge of discipline. So this thing has been accumulating. It's even actually in colleges and universities. You find that people are cheating in exams. You have to call them for a disciplinary meeting. And then you have to do the letters. You are the dean of students. You have to tell them, please go away for like 2 weeks. Yeah. Then we also need your guardian here so that we can actually explain how your school fees is being utilized in this institution. But if the parent, when the parent comes back, probably he wants to see you in person to give you something so that you can cancel that letter or something. So what does that one tell you? So some will even send money by WhatsApp. By the time they are on the gate, you see something came, then you set to back the sender because you don't want to compromise. They have been fair. So this issue of parents, I think need to be, I don't know exactly what is happening in this particular situation, because either the leadership has gone down, the parents have run away from their roles as parents, not only in education, even in guiding the students into adulthood, because there is a way you can get a student in adulthood who knows that after I do this exam, because in our case, I remember in our case, we are being told, work hard. I even remember my dad tells me that no girl will even like you if you fail the exams. So what does that one tell you? Yeah. So you have to work hard.
Yeah, you're told work hard.
And when you go to the university, I remember him also telling me that you'll never get somebody to marry in that institution. But you have to work hard.
The opposite is true.
Yes, you understand?
I don't really like hardworking, yes, but it's okay.
And I also remember even when I got the first job, he told me that if you start dating ladies from that institution, one of you must leave at some particular point. So trying to make you understand life, how life is. Yeah. But I have an issue with the current because I don't understand how you give money for the leakages to give your son or your daughter so that they can pass the exams. What are you creating in the first place?
Obed,
yes.
Tanzoya, and would you aid in exam malpractice? I'm sorry to ask you that.
As a parent,
it depends.
It depends?
It depends, of course, because times and times are changing, and we must all agree that as a responsible parent, we would always want our children to succeed for several reasons. One, because we want to take pride in it, that our children have done well, and we are the people behind the children. I'm a very young parent because my child is only 10 years old.
And that's why I was asking you that, whether you actually, because now they say they belong to a different generation. You are one of the parents that the is talking about.
And you know, it is actually my responsibility to ensure that my son or daughter performs the best. Secondly, on matters concerning integrity and cheating in examinations, I would take a different perspective on the same, because in my own perception, I think the government actually aids so much in exam malpractices, even more than what the parents do. And I would take, for instance, what Professor just said, that we were told during our young ages that if you don't perform well, then you will not even get a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
And there was a story, somebody once told me, that a teacher asked Njeri, a teacher asked Ojwang, that Ojwang, what would you want to be when you grow up? And Ojwang said, I would like to be a doctor, own the biggest mansions in this country, and even become the richest person in the republic. And then the same teacher turned to Njeri and asked Njeri, what would you like to be? And Njeri said, Ojwang's wife. This is because everybody wants to associate with success, especially the girl child will want to associate with success from the boy child. But the big question is, what is the government doing to ensure that we have a balance? You can imagine, I studied in a slum. The place where I come from in Trans Nzoia is a total slum called Matisi. And this is a place whereby you would not get anybody with a degree, because most of the people there understand that you don't need education to go far in life. You need to know the streets, you need to hustle, you need to look for whatever you can so that you can succeed in life. And then there is a child here in Kileleshwa whose father is employed, whose mother is also employed, attending a very stable school here in Nairobi. And then at the end of the day, you present the same examinations to these two people. All of them have attained the same grades, maybe. They are in grade 6 or grade 7. Right now we are speaking about the new model. Maybe they're in grade 8. And you are placing the same examination to the same students, and you want all of them to perform well. You are telling them that this is a yardstick that is going to determine whether you are going to succeed in life or not succeed in life. Then the big question is it the parent who is assisting the cheating or the government that is assisting in the cheating? Because it is actually the role of the government to ensure that the child in the rural areas and the child in Nairobi can access the same level of education. But the Kenyan government has done nothing to ensure the same, because the rich people can actually afford good education, and the poor people cannot even afford the basic education that the government is supposed to offer. We will never be the same with such a scenario.
All right. Because right now we are dealing with results, but you are not checking on the cause. And this is not the first time KCSE is being administered. It has been there. So we've been singing this song year after year. So let's ask ourselves, who set this exam? So how does leakage come in? We have been involved in setting, especially the technical institutions, setting of the exams. And there's no time that we have told the students that this is what is coming. So we want to see these rogue examiners being apprehended, because there's no, because cheating starts on the table, on the desk, in the staff room. So you have been assigned, you are an examiner, so you are supposed to take your questions, you'll type your questions, you'll take them. Then from there, moderation, of course, normally happens. So there are these, and especially there's a time, the examiners who are supposed to moderate, so that by the time the exam is being administered, those who set does not even know exactly what is happening. So we need to know, to see the radar. So who started, who set the questions, who moderated the questions, who typed the questions, all those things should not be ignored. If you want to see, to know exactly what is happening. So we might blame the parent and the teachers and the students for giving cash and buying those exams, but where does the ring start beating us?
Yeah, so Brian, I think we need to answer the question, whom does the buck stop with? Because everybody is playing a role somewhere in the ecosystem. But if NEC had put all the measures, the parent cannot bribe when there is no one to be bribed. Because sometimes you might want to bribe, but you have no one to bribe. For example, if you go, for example, in some countries in the West, if you just show you want to bribe somebody, you can have trouble. And I can give an example about personal integrity, which is in some countries. We say Kenyans have a right to copy, but not copyright. What does that mean? Mr. Dean, now I call you Mr. Dean because academics is interesting. If you take a book, you take your book, a full book, which is not yours, to a photocopier shop, and you ask them to photocopy the whole book, they tell you, no, we do maximum 20 pages. Imagine someone who doing photocopy of books to make money tells you, because of copyright, we cannot photocopy more than 20 pages for you. But in Kenya, you can take a whole library, so long as someone is making money, and they'll accept to photocopy for you. Can you imagine when someone says, no, I can't take that bribe? No, I cannot be able to do that. So the integrity first of all start from every individual in Kenya. So long as all of us have no integrity, we can blame the government from morning to day, isn't it? Even the bishops can say this guy is lying and there, isn't it? But the lying here is, first of all, is acceptable in Kenya. If you can lie your way to success, you are a very successful person.
Okay.
So, and secondly, parents. Generation A gives birth to Generation D. That's what I'm trying to say. Our parents were no generation. So we became Generation A. That's why you're sitting on set here. Now you are saying it is your responsibility, your son must pass. So you are Generation A. You are A grade, isn't it? So then you give to D because now you're making somebody to become A and is not. So it's Generation D. Now that person who has passed exams, if the person goes to become a medical doctor, your son, if you come to me, like for example, me and you, we are professors. You want your son to become a medical doctor and we know they are not qualified. If I ask you, Obed, if this your son becomes a medical doctor, will you entrust him to offer an operation on you and your mother and on your children? The question will say no. So if you want me to give your son a degree that you yourself you don't want to consume, are you not seeing there's something wrong there already? So we're asking ourselves that, are we going to have integrity in a way that we can be able to solve these problems that can be able to reduce the issues? Okay. So NEC needs to be the ultimate because they're the ones who sets all those systems. Yes. And I want to end with an anecdote. When I was academic director in Strathmore University, I used to teach governors. In fact, I taught more than 9 governors. Just Governor Nanok, Tunai, and all these guys. I don't want to count all of them because there's one governor who had a problem with. The governor did not sit for exam of 1 unit. I was away in Spain. When I landed, he called me and told me, we're going to meet in Karen Golf Club so that I can help him graduate. I said, but you know, if you want to pass exam, come to my small office in Strathmore. It's a small office, but it does magic. Just come there. He told me, no, Professor, I want to pass because already graduation is coming. I've invited the president, deputy president. There are 10, all governors are coming. There are 3 heads of state from outside are coming. I told him, excuse me, you will not graduate because you have not passed this grade. Okay. It went all the way to when he accused me for the VC that I was rude. And I told the VC, this job is yours. You gave it to me. If you believe that this person needs to graduate, then give it to him. Then I told him, write for me exactly clear instruction on email, how to help him. Yeah. Eventually, the thing fell over. Sometimes say we need people of integrity in the system. A clean and lean system will cure this problem we are having in Kenya at the moment.
Okay, and we do hope that Governor is not in any way associated with my...
No. He's not associated with the chance. Oh, yeah, I can't
okay. All right, we do take a break here on set. Of course, you're coming back and taking a look at what the clerics are saying as far as corruption and integrity in the country is concerned, and also the issue to do with sending our very own former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to the AUC.